Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing another video from Grab the Lantern. Today, Riot have dropped their big update spree of videos. They actually didn't do a live stream this year. They did just like 4 individual videos that are all like 10 minutes long this year, which is a much worse format, I think, than what they've done previously. But either way, there's a ton of interesting content for us to talk through today, by which I mean there's like exactly one video that is even remotely relevant, and then there's another video which has a little tiny tidbit that's somewhat relevant. Because these were recorded a long time ago, so they mostly talk about things that are already live by this point. So overall, the format I'm not a big fan of, but there's a lot of content for us to break down regardless, so let's go ahead and hop right into things. Now, in the midscope updates video that Riot have, they give us a little bit of a tidbit about the Neeko midscope update, specifically calling out that Neeko will be able to transform into just about anything following the midscope. They specifically call out plants, wards, minions, potentially jungle monsters, Teemo mushrooms. It seems like there's almost no limit to what Neeko can actually become, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, but it really does mean that Neeko then has the ability to be the sort of stealthy, I could be anything or anyone type champion that everyone kind of wanted her to be on launch. Disguising yourself as an enemy champion, though, obviously there's always kind of this difficulty in saying, oh yeah, I can totally disguise myself as this person and sneak up on somebody. It doesn't really work that way. But this new approach, I really think, gives Neeko the ability to play as a sort of stealthy surprise mage, right? You disguise yourself as a caster minion, you hope your opponent misses the fact that there's 4 caster minions in the wave, and while they're just normally wave clearing, you pop out and you murder them because you're a burst mage, and that's easy. It seems really fun. It does feel like it's going to be very strong off the bat, but I'm assuming that there's going to be some kind of counterplay inherent in it. Riot are usually pretty good about baking that in, so I'm quite excited for that. That's not the only change that's going to be coming to Neeko, but that's the only change that they talked about today, and I'm very excited for the midscope overall. Moving on to their LoL Please video, which had most of the changes and updates that they wanted to talk about. And I'm going to talk about the 2 big ones here, which are the 2 new champions. We knew about both of these. These are the Male Enchanter from Ixtal and the Darken Dagger Assassin, but we also know their names now. The Male Enchanter from Ixtal is Milio, and is apparently a master of the Fire Axiom from Ixtal. Remember, they are all elementalists, so clearly Milio has mastered the element of fire. That says he doesn't use it for damage, he instead uses it to heal, which is an interesting concept. Fire isn't exactly the most healing of elements, but Kayle even has, she technically says, like, flame protects or light protects or whatever when she uses her W, so theoretically I could see it, but it'll be interesting to see how the kit actually works. He is going to be going to Ixtal, which is the capital of Ixtal, and will uncover some dark secrets when he gets there. Maybe the fact that Ixtal isn't the only region that's actually in existence, and maybe that's what's going to cause Ixtal to actually reveal itself to the general world at large. It'd be interesting to see what this character ends up doing. They do give us a couple of individual hints about Milio. They do say, for example, he's wearing a shirt. Naafiri, the Darken, is the only champion this year that won't be wearing a shirt when they come out. They call out his backpack specifically, which is a weird thing to call out, but we also know he's a young person as well, so this is reminding me of like Ava Achiever from Legends of Runeterra, right? The Yordle with the ginormous backpack. That's kind of what I'm already picturing for Milio. And they do specifically say that he can always bounce back into action. Does this character have something to do with bounces? Either a bouncing skill shot, making allies bounce, bouncing enemies away, something along those lines. You always have to pay super close attention when Riot do these teasers, but interested to see what they actually do with Milio, but he should be the first champion, the first new champion out this year. We also then will have Naafiri, the Darken mid lane assassin. This is the Darken Dagger champion that was hinted at a while back. Now, they did say that Naafiri is supposed to be a more straightforward champion, someone who, quote-unquote, focuses on macro play and lets you jump into the action. She's supposed to be focusing on the hunt, and they do specifically call out that she has myriad bodies that allow her to hunt in a pack. Now, this, to me, says that Naafiri is like this entire colony of, like, hounds or something, and you can send out hounds to find enemy champions and then be able to sort of pursue them from then and rip them apart. As an assassin, that kind of makes sense, and it's also kind of a cool concept, though. How a Darken was able to occupy an entire colony of creatures, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. Riot seem to increasingly be pushing the boundaries of what Darken are allowed to do, but you know me, I love me some Darken, so I'm very excited regardless. This is also why Naafiri is able to get away with not having a shirt, guys, because she's literally like a bunch of dogs. They're probably not wearing clothes. But it's an interesting concept, and I'm excited to see where they're going to take Naafiri moving forwards. Riot then give us a couple of teasers at some newer champions that will be potentially coming out later this year. We have a quote-unquote hangry jungler, and they display a Castlevania-esque tower. I will have the whole video linked in the description if you want to take a look at it, but they have a Castlevania-esque tower that's displayed for this. It's Noxian, almost certainly, maybe another Hemomancer like Vladimir, and then they also talk about an artistic mid laner with an Ionian tower of some kind displayed in the background. This makes me think maybe Jin's Weapon Maker is showing up in League as an actual champion. Maybe not. She's not really combat focused, but there's potential for something to happen with these two. Exciting to see what we're going to have from there, but suffice to say, a jungler and a mid laner will be coming in the near future. It'll be a while for the next AD carry and top lane from the look of it. Riot also made a confirmation that the midscopes are the focus of this year. Riot are going to be focusing very heavily on updating champions, and especially parts of champions that haven't aged particularly well. And while I think that this is a fine approach if Riot were going to do a year of VGU like they did the year where Akali and Aurelia and Swain all received visual and gameplay updates, I'm not a big fan of it being midscopes. I think midscopes are a good way of refreshing gameplay for a character that isn't quite getting there as far as their sort of gameplay promise is supposed to be. But I also think that the focusing on midscopes, there's nothing exciting to get excited about with a midscope update, right? If you play the champion, great, you're excited that your champion's getting a refresh. If you were tangentially interested in the champion, maybe you're then interested to try playing them. But if you weren't interested in the character at all, you're not going to be interested in the character after their midscope. That's just not really how they work in comparison to a VGU, where I think that there's a much bigger bar for people to be interested in the newly reworked character. Midscopes, I just don't think quite get there, and so this seems like the opposite of what I said I wanted in my most recent video looking forward to 2023. There's just not that much that's interesting or exciting or that I can really be, like, excited about. It's just I'm disappointed if this is really the focus that they want to go for. That said, they did say that they're going to be pushing voiceover-only updates to a couple of champions, including Nidalee and Varus, which I think these are good candidates. Nidalee may have a connection to Milio because Nidalee obviously is from the Kumongu jungle where Ichtal is located, and Varus obviously knows the Darken character, Naafiri. They were all darkened together, right? Which I really like the idea then that we're going to have these voiceover updates, especially updating some really terrible old VOs like Nidalee's old VO. Absolutely garbage, and there are a few other champions that I think could really use it. So looking forward to seeing if more of these are pushed out this year. But at the very least, these two I think is a good start, especially given that I think they line up quite well with the champion releases that Riot are doing. Riot also touched on the Skarner VGUs, speaking of VGUs, and oh my god, it's been so long, and they basically don't show us anything that we haven't already seen. The prototype designs in the video are literally from the last champion roadmap where they talked about him, which means that they've done no work on Skarner. At least no work that they're willing to share with us yet. This means one of two things to me. Either Skarner's proving to be a much more tricky character for them to figure out. I do know that they lost Skarner's writer very early on into his VGU, and they've had to since find a replacement. Or it means that Riot literally did no work on Skarner until after Udyr was out the door, which, to be fair, Udyr was a very big project. He essentially was 4 champions in one for every skin that he has. That's a lot of work, admittedly. That said, though, it's really disappointing to finally hear about Skarner again and for Riot to basically say, yeah, we haven't done anything. I'm hoping it comes out this year, because this is supposed to be the year of updates and refreshing old gameplay things, right? But I'm very doubtful after what happened to Udyr. It could be another entire 2 years before Skarner comes out, which would put us to an absolutely glacial pace in terms of VGUs, and I think would be just extremely disappointing overall if this is going to be the process going forwards. Moving on to some of the other cosmetic things that Riot touched on, obviously they mentioned the Ahri ASU and the Aurelion Sol CGU, which we knew both of these were coming as they were leaked a little bit early. I've already made a full video about Aurelion Sol. If you're interested, it'll be linked down in the descriptions. And Ahri's ASU, I think, also took a very long time to come out. Again, talking about things taking a lot longer than we would have assumed. Ahri's ASU, I estimate about 10 months, assuming that work on Ahri didn't start until after Caitlyn's ASU was out, and it didn't release until this preseason because Riot wanted to package it all together with the Season 13's start. This is a really bad look for ASUs, in all honesty. I think the Ahri ASU looks fine. There's nothing in particular that I really want to call out here. I think it looks good. But if this is supposed to be a faster way to get champions modernized than a VGU, it isn't any faster. This is not going to be an increased pace. This is just, you may as well VGU them at this point because it's going to take the exact same amount of time for you to VGU them as it would for you to ASU them. Which just, to me, says that this is sort of a failed update type. I don't know why you would ever do this when it takes the same amount of time as a VGU. and also, and the VGU also comes with the gameplay refresh, right? It's not a good look to me personally with how long this has taken, but we'll see when the next one ships. Already had a lot of skins for Riot to update, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt there very slightly, and if they choose a champion for an ASU next, like, let's say Blitzcrank, I would expect it to be a much quicker update, but we'll see how things go. Riot also talk about new skins. Aurelion Sol, Ivern, Kled, and Callista are all confirmed for getting a new skin this year, and they even showed off a couple of these particular skins. Callista is going to be a part of the Courts of Four Seasons skin line as the Fairy Queen. It's an interesting skin idea. They also show off Karma as being a part of the skin line. It's one that I'm curious to see how it's executed. I'm not really hyped about it, but I'm curious to see how it's executed, and I think it has the potential to be a very popular one. It gives me the sort of theming of Elderwood, but maybe trespassing a little bit into Order of the Lotus domain. It could be cool. The other skin line that we know is returning is the Cats and Dogs skin line, or the sort of April Fool skin lines, the same skin line that gave us Pugmaw, for example. And I could completely leave the skin line, honestly. It's not that fun. It's fun to see the designs initially, and then afterwards you never use the skin again because it's a joke and you don't feel like using it. So I don't know why this one came back in particular. They did show off a combined splash art that showed us off the Kled and Kindred skins in this new skin line, which, as a Kled player, I'm not excited at all that this is Kled's first skin in years. But you know, for those of you who are interested or excited about this particular skin line, it's going to be coming back, so you'll have some more content to delve into. Finally, I want to talk about the Ranked update that Riot have talked about, and the biggest change here, of course, is that Ranked is going to be split into 2 seasons throughout the course of Season 13, or 2 splits, I should say, throughout Season 13. There is going to be 2 ranked skins that you're going to be able to earn. You don't have to hit gold to earn either of these skins, but if you're not in gold, you'll have to play a significantly higher amount of games in order to actually earn the skin. Now, what Riot have said that they like about this is that they like the idea that they basically said that ranked players play about half the season, and that's when they hit their goals, and then they stop playing ranked, or they have to play just enough ranked to not decay, but also not so much ranked that they lose too much and get booted out of their chosen league. And I think that this is a fair concern to have, but I do think that these changes are going to completely ruin ranked for the sort of casual ranked warriors, right? Not the people who have any semblance of assuming, oh, I'm going to be able to hit platinum or diamond or masters super easily, right? And I'm definitely the best player on the server. But for the people who just queue up for ranked because, hey, I just want to know what my rank is and I want to be able to grind out the skin and this is going to be a fun time. Now, you have to do it twice in a single year with half the amount of time that you had previously if you want to earn all of the rewards for that split. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I think this is just an absolutely garbage change from Riot. It sounds more like Riot want people just playing ranked rather than interested in making it an engaging climb, which is problematic because ranked, of course, is the most toxic queue that Riot have. Ranked is not fun for almost anyone to play at all, and it really seems like Riot are saying, but we want you to play it more. And this is the opposite of what I wanted from Riot, which is a focus on the more casual side of the game, adding more PvE game modes, adding more for fun alternate game modes, rather than saying the focus is on ranked Summoner's Rift and that's it, that's all you should ever be playing. It just rubs me the wrong way, especially given how much of a reception they receive from their other game modes, and then they decide they don't want to do anything more with that, make the game more about ranked. It doesn't rub me the right way. I'm not very happy with this particular change, and as a result, I think overall, the season 2023, I'm a little cool on overall. It feels like Riot are really reining back in all the things that they know we like, and instead they're trying to do things to push the game in a different direction, I think, than what a lot of people realistically want them to be. That said, this is still early days yet. A lot of this is stuff that we've just had a chance to talk about for the first time today, so we'll see what actually happens when things go live. I know I was super critical of jungle pets, and they didn't end up ruining the game in the way that I was maybe making them out to be, so we'll see how any of these updates go, but you'll have to let me know what you think of these down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave it a like, and if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later.